Today we want to talk about how it feels like to use Windows XP in 2022. Stay tuned. Hey folks, today we want to see how it's like to reuse Windows XP in 2022 after many years and having used different Microsoft operating systems such as Windows 7, Windows 8, Windows 10, Windows even 11. But before we go ahead, a few caveats. The first one is that Windows XP is no longer supported. 2009 was the last maintenance date, and then even the extended support ended in the year 2014. Thanks Microsoft. If you want to use it today, there is no software update, and more importantly, even your hardware may not be supported. In addition to that, many or most software developers have stopped creating applications for it. I even had a hard time finding proper browsers to install. I had to find like a specific version of Firefox to install on the operating system. There is an old built-in Internet Explorer version, IE8, which is very old, and like even websites don't support it, so that's no good either. Regardless, we assume that we can somehow deal with all those problems. We wanna see if Windows XP is still usable today or not. So basically I would be mostly talking about the UI and like the usability of the operating system. When you install the operating system, there is not much on the desktop contrary to Windows 98 or 95. What you see is this nice Bliss background and then the good old recycle bin up here. Now let's start with the start menu, no pun intended. With the start menu, when you open it, you see all of your frequently used programs on this side and a bunch of system options on the other side. If you want to see all your programs, you click on all programs and then you can just go further and see all these extra options. This is good and all until you actually want to open a program. These days you just have the search option. You just type a few characters and then you find your program. Some people even use Cortana to use voice search. But unfortunately on Windows XP we don't have such an option. That's one of the biggest problems. Even when I was using Windows XP, I installed some third-party application to actually add that functionality. So I would say that is a problem. What else? Let's just stay on the start menu. We have the control panel here. It has this task-oriented view and then it has this classic view as well. I'd really prefer Windows XP's control panel because everything is on the same page with the same interface. For example, you see you have these dialog boxes. If you want to change your language, simple. Folder option, simple. But now on Windows 10, Windows 11, we have these multiple setting pages for different pages, which can be quite confusing. That's not my piece of cake. So this is control panel. So I guess Windows XP gets a plus. What else we have here? Then we have the taskbar. If you want to have a broader view, the taskbar on Windows XP is nice. It has smaller icons if you prefer larger icons or merged icons, maybe you don't like it, but I think this is better. It's more usable, unless you're on a touch interface, which you prefer larger windows. Maybe probably that's been one of the reasons why the default option on Windows 7 or 8 is actually 8 or 10 is the larger icons. What else we have? But just before we move ahead, you know, despite not having a search option, these all programs menu is very easy to use actually, and it opens like in a side-by-side way, so it's not that hard to find what you're looking for, unless you have hundreds of applications and in that case actually your computer would be very slow, so I wouldn't recommend that. And one good thing about Windows XP is that very nice set of built-in applications, including the games, which are you know, sadly removed from later versions of Windows. You have to actually install them from the Windows Store or Microsoft App Store, and so I prefer to have them like pre-installed with Windows. And this comes to my next point, which is the Windows Store, which is not available on Windows XP. So if you want to use, I don't know, use the Spotify app or Prime Video app, you don't have the option here if you want to use the Windows Store application. The other noticeable difference with Windows XP is the Explorer folders. You see the view is different, and then I like the icons much more. If you ask me, they're much nicer and easier to see. And then you have this task kind of a section on the column. And Windows XP, as I told you, there is this task-oriented UI design. Even control panel, it asks you what you want to do. On Windows, let's say 10, you have this ribbon style, which started with Microsoft Office and then it was extended to Windows. If you prefer that kind of ribbon, then it doesn't exist. But most of the people, as far as I have seen, use the right-click menu. Not many people actually use the toolbar or the menu, so I wouldn't say that much of a problem. And that's that. And then maybe the last but not the least is the search. On Windows 10, if you want to search, you have this search box on the side, which you can use it to search, but it's not very easy to use. Or if you want to search for a bunch of parameters like exact date, it's very hard to use. But Windows XP had this nice search, because this one has two options even, and we even had this search companion guy. I guess I turned it off. Let's see if I can turn it back on. What was the guy's name? Rover. So you could easily search for what you wanted, all files. Then you could select the location, the size of the file, other options, case sensitive, everything. So everything was so easy to do. But now I don't like the new Windows search. So if I want to conclude, I would say Windows XP is pretty much usable if we disregard the support issues, and then if we add a search to the start menu, and then even Windows Store can be, maybe it's possible to be added, but it was even usable without Windows Store, so I would give it like a plus. And I don't think that that's a possibility, but I would be happy if Microsoft says, okay, this is Windows 12 with the look and feel of Windows XP. That would be great. Now let's do a final comparison and summarize what we talked about. So in terms of start menu, because Windows XP doesn't have a search, I would say Windows 10 is better. Control panel, XP is better because everything is clear, you know where everything is. For taskbar, I would say Windows 10 is better because it has both a small button and large button options. In terms of built-in apps, XP has games and a bunch of other applications, but there are some options that are missing, for example screen capture. So I would say both were acceptable. For the Explorer, I don't like any of them actually. I've been waiting for like a tabbed Explorer option or something of that sort, which we're still waiting for. And then the search, as we discussed, I like the XP version more. So in total, I would say we have a tie here. So not that bad for either operating system. That's it, folks. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe, and see you next time.